If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by portrait photography, or just at a loss of what to focus on to take you to that next level, then come hang with me. I help guide portrait photographers just like you to stay clear and sharp in camera and with your goals. I'm your host, photographer, educator, and weirdly positive mama of four, Emily Supio. And this is the Stay Focused podcast. Photography advice to help you stay focused. Well, hey you guys, it's Emily Supio, and thank you so much for pressing play on today's episode of the Stay Focused podcast. Today it's just me and you on the podcast, which I always love, and I have something really fun that I want to do on today's show. So I'm going to be breaking down 20, yes, 20, I know that's a big number, but we're going to go through 20 mini lessons for those of you who want to really start taking great pictures, gorgeous pictures, beautiful pictures that look more than you just snapped them with your phone really quick, right? So we're going to be breaking down 20 mini lessons today. So make sure that you've got your attention ready. Make sure you've got your earbuds in if you're on at the gym and you're ready to run through these while you're running, or make sure you're listening while you're driving, but also paying attention to, or wherever you listen to the show. I always like to know. Now, for those of you who have been listening to the Stay Focused podcast for a while, we have always run the podcast on places like iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Amazon. It's kind of evolved. This season, on season 3, we're doing something a little different too. We're also going to be sharing some of the episodes over on YouTube. So if you have subscribed to us on the Cozy Clicks and Stay Focused podcast YouTube channel, you will get to see some of the behind the scenes for some of the episodes. You will get to see me and my cute little office, which when I say cute, it's not really super cute, but you can see for yourself if you catch one of the video episodes. You'll also get to see some of our guests that come and join us on the show too. Sometimes it will be full episodes, sometimes just little clips. So if you're watching or listening on YouTube right now, make sure to also subscribe over on iTunes, where you'll always be able to listen to the full episodes of the Stay Focused podcast. You could also catch the full episodes on my website, cozyclicks.com. That's where the Stay Focused podcast is housed. So I just wanted to get through some of that housekeeping, just because things are looking a little bit different, evolving a little bit with the podcast and the show. So I want you to all have lots of different options where you can listen, where you can learn, where you can continue your photography journey. And speaking of our photography journeys, it's always kind of nice to assess where we're at, right? To understand what our strengths are, our struggles are, so we know what to really focus in and work on. And that's why I have created a brand new photography quiz. It's totally free, super fun, super short, but you can take that by going over to cozyclicks.com/quiz so that you can learn what your true photography strengths, struggles, and secrets to really elevating your photography skills. So make sure to head over to cozyclicks.com/quiz. And then when you take that, I would love to know your results. I would love to know what you got. So make sure to comment either over on my Instagram, if you follow me at Cozy Clicks there, just comment on any of the past posts that are up there, or if you're watching on the new YouTube Stay Focused podcast channel, make sure to comment below here too, because I would love to know your results on that quiz. Remember, just go to cozyclicks.com/quiz. It's super short, you guys, just fun, and will give you some really great insight into you. Okay, let's get into these 20 mini lessons to help you start taking great pictures. I am super excited about this episode. This is like a
mega episode of learning all in one episode. I don't know, maybe mega is not the best word to use, but I like it. It makes it sound really cool and exciting, right? So let's dive right into these 20 mini lessons, starting with number 1. That's a great place to start, right? So number 1, those of you who keep at it will see the most progress. And I know that sounds like a total no-brainer, right? But there are so many new photographers that I talk to, that I come across, that give up way too early. I know photography can seem kind of overwhelming at times. It can get frustrating at times. And there's too many new photographers who will give up. Too many who are super creative because they feel that frustration. So I just want you to remember, if you want to see progress, you've just got to keep at it. Keep at it, because those of you who do are going to be the ones that see the most progress with your work. All right, number 2. You don't need to go out and buy the most expensive camera to take great photos. Whatever camera you are working with right now, even if the only one you have is your camera phone, use that, okay? A better, more expensive camera does not always equal better photos. There are some fantastic photographers out there that really do just use their camera phone. When I first started, I used a borrowed old model Canon Rebel camera. So don't go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a camera you don't really need yet, okay? So you can kind of breathe a little bit. You can kind of hang on to some of your money a little bit. Don't run out and buy a new camera, okay? A lot of photographers are just going to feel really frustrated by more advanced models of cameras. And then going back to that number 1 lesson, you just might feel too frustrated and give up if you've got that equipment that has too much going on, okay? So don't use the most expensive stuff out there. Moving on to number 3, we're just going to keep rocking and rolling, you guys, because I've got 20 of these mini lessons. So number 3, not every picture you take will be gorgeous. And that is okay. Not every picture I take right now is gorgeous. Sometimes I try new things, or sometimes I'll have this idea or inspiration when I'm out shooting, and it ends up looking really bad, really out of focus, really not at all like I intended. But I know that's okay. I tried. I did something different, and it's okay. So always take risks. Always try new things when you're practicing, and be okay with it not looking great, every single one of them, because not every picture you take will. Moving into number 4, it does not matter how old you are to start learning photography. You guys, I am 44 years old, and maybe for some of you listening right now, that seems really young, but sometimes for me, I think about it and I think, wow, I'm old. But then I think back to when I first started really trying to learn photography. I was 30 years old. And I know this because that's when I had my first child. And I thought at 30, I had the same exact feelings I do now sometimes. I thought, oh, I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not this, young teenager anymore who can go out and stay out and learn from whoever, whenever, and take great pictures. And I remember thinking at 30, maybe I was just too old to get started with this hobby. But you know what? If I would have given myself that excuse over and over again that I was too old when I was 30, I wouldn't be where I was today. I wouldn't be doing this podcast for you guys. I wouldn't have a podcast that has been downloaded over 100,000 times, which seems unreal to me. I wouldn't have a, online photography school. I wouldn't have my photography business. I wouldn't have all these beautiful pictures of my kids. So think about all of the things that you can do with your photography skills, no matter how old you are, you guys. And I've got students who are in their 70s and 80s. So don't use that as an excuse, okay? All right, moving into number 5. And so many people do this who are starting out in photography. And if you haven't, I bet you will at some point, and I totally did this too, but do not compare yourself to others. Don't compare your day 1 to someone else's day 365, okay? It's two different timelines. It's two different journeys. It's two different paths. So only compare you to you. Just look at the progress you are making. Compare yourself to the pictures that you were taking last week, last month, yesterday, okay? Only compare you to you. Don't compare your day 1 to someone else's day 500, day 1,000, okay? Just don't do it. And I know it's hard, but stop today. I mean it. Okay, number 6. Let's keep moving along because remember, we've got 20 mini lessons today. So number 6, and this kind of goes into what we were just talking about. Maybe I was getting too ahead of myself, too excited with number 5, but it kind of goes right into number 6. And that's always remember your progress. Your progress. Okay, that's when you're going to start to really feel better about yourself, your photography skills, your work, when you realize how much you've progressed, how much you have moved forward, even if it's just a little bit. And get excited about that. Celebrate that. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, because that's going to help push that momentum forward. It's going to help you become a better photographer. It's going to help you take those great pictures that you keep seeing in your brain, right? All right. What number are we on? 7, 6, 7, 7. Lucky number 7. Okay. So your mini lesson number 7. Okay. And I know a lot of you do this because you're listening to this podcast right now. This podcast is free. I do this podcast for free every single week, full of education, full of motivation, inspiration for you. And I know there's lots of podcasts that are out there. I know there's lots of YouTube tutorials out there. I know there's lots of Google articles out there. And learning from free content like this is great. Okay. But when you start learning from teachers that have been at it a while, teachers that understand how to teach, when you find a mentor, when you get into a paid program or a premium program, when you take that step, that is when your work is going to really start to level up. That's when you have decided to make that choice, to be all in. And that's when you're really going to start to see the most progress, the biggest jumps in your work, because you're holding yourself accountable now, and your teacher or your mentor is also holding you accountable. So free stuff is great. Once you get yourself into a program or mentorship, that is even better. Okay, number 8. Don't be afraid of switching to manual mode, you guys. It is going to make a world of difference in your photos. I hope most of you have already made that switch, turned the dial to manual mode, because once you get off of automatic, that is when your creativity really blossoms. That's when your pictures go from good to great, or great to excellent, or excellent to professional looking. So make sure to take that step. Don't be afraid to switch to manual mode. And I want to throw this out there too. If you haven't downloaded that manual mode handbook that I have for free over on the Cozy Clicks website, you can grab that. Go to cozyclicks.com/handbook. It's totally free. You can download it today. So if you are a little scared of manual mode, download that, and that will start to help you see a big difference in your pictures. Okay. Number 9 on our list of mini lessons. We're doing great on time. I love it. Okay, number 9. So some of the pictures that you take will be, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. So you're going to take some pictures that are bad. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I was trying to think of a nice sugar-coated way to say it, but some of the pictures you take will be bad. They will. They will be totally out of focus. They will be totally underexposed, overexposed. Not good. Okay? But taking those bad shots are going to help you create all of the good ones, all of the great ones, all of the excellent ones that you're going to take. So just because you took a bad picture, just because you took a shot that was not in focus, totally out of focus, doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just going to help you along your photography journey. It's going to help you remember how to create that great one the next time. So don't think of any of your pictures as being bad. It's just part of the journey and part of the creation for all the great things that you're going to create. Okay? All right, halfway through, we have made it to number 10 on our mini lessons of photography. I should have came up with a better name, shouldn't I? Now that I'm saying that, I think maybe I should have, I don't know, been a little more creative with my name for this episode. But anyways, still will be the same great information. Number 10, the most successful photographers that you see out there are always learning. Your learning with photography doesn't stop. It's something that keeps evolving. There isn't a start point and an end point to learning photography. You don't suddenly graduate and have a photography degree or have a photography completion of a course and then that's it, and then you're just a good professional photographer. No, you're always learning. There's always going to be something new to learn or new to try, and maybe that is something to do with shooting or composition or lighting or editing or a different editing program or business. There are so many different things that you could always learn with photography. And so the most successful photographers that you see out there, those photographers that stop your scroll on Instagram or that you have pinned 1 million of their pictures on a board on Pinterest that you have, those photographers, they're not done learning. They are also learning too. So I want you to think of that when you're starting to learn, is that it's just going to be something that always, always, always is happening. Okay. What number are we at now? I was getting a little too excited there. We're at number 11. We skipped through the halfway point. So number 11, and this goes back to one of the ones I was talking about earlier, but you don't need the newest lens to take great photos, okay? I used to think that I needed one of the, luxury lenses or the 70 to 200 millimeter was a lens that for a while in the beginning, I thought that was the go-to lens that I needed to have. And that lens, I think at the time it was maybe $2,500. I'm not sure exactly how much it is right now, probably still around the same price. But I looked at that and I was like, oh, my first car was not even that much money. Like, how could I justify buying that? But at the same time, I thought, well, that's the lens that I need because all of these photographers who are posting work that I love, that's the lens they keep saying they use. But you know what? I don't have that lens. I never bought that lens. And I still have pictures that I think are great. So you guys, you don't need to go out there and buy a $2,000 lens or a $3,000 lens or a $5,000 lens to take great pictures. Work with what you have right now, move up slowly, or rent a lens and see if it's one that you like, okay? Number 12, have fun with this journey, you guys. Don't be too hard on yourself. Smile when you've got the camera out. If it's too much, take a break. If you're not feeling it one day, take a break. If you're not feeling it for a week, take a break. If you're not having fun along this journey, then maybe it isn't a hobby for you. Maybe it isn't the journey for you, and you don't have to force something that isn't for you. That's totally okay too. But if you do have fun with it, if you love the creation process, if you love growing, if you love learning, if you love creating, if you love the art of photography, then that is what matters. Have fun with this photography journey. All right, number 13, choose your teachers wisely. And I feel so honored that you have chosen me to help teach you today. And I feel honored that you've chosen me as a teacher to help you with your photography journey. If you are a podcast listener, or if you are a student in one of my courses, or if you've read one of my articles on cozyclicks.com. I feel honored that you've chosen me. And not all teachers are created equal. And we all know that, right? Because the majority of us, I'm guessing you went to middle school or high school, and there's teachers that stick out in your brain as really helping you out, right? Like they knew what they were doing. They made learning fun. They made it connect with you. And then you probably have teachers that you don't remember at all. Like you blocked them out completely because they were so boring. You did not take one word that they said that stuck to you, including their name, right? Like they were that bad at teaching. So you want to make sure you're choosing your teachers wisely when you're learning photography too. Choose a teacher that connects with you, that connects with your learning style, that makes sense with you, that again makes photography fun, makes you want to take out your camera and take pictures. So just like when we were in high school or middle school and you gravitated toward those teachers that just made that connection with you, you want to do the same thing when you're learning photography. Number 14. I'm so glad you guys are still listening right now. 14 little mini lessons. We're really getting through a lot today. So number 14, you who are listening right now, I'm talking to you. You are in the exact place you should be right now with your photography skills. Okay? You're not supposed to be 10 steps ahead. You're not 10 steps behind. Wherever you are at, that's where you are supposed to be in your photography journey. So if right now you've only just gone out and bought your first DSLR camera, then that is the exact place that you should be. If right now you're diving into Photoshop and it seems a little bit scary but fun at the same time, that's the exact place you should be. If right now you've just turned that dial to manual mode and you're playing around with it and exploring the different creative options, that's where you should be right now. And if you run a full-time business right now, because I know that there are a lot of you who do that listen to this show, if you are running a full-time business, if you're making $100,000 a year, good for you. That is exactly where you should be right now. So I just always want you to remember that no matter where you are at, that is your spot right now. And be excited, smile about being in that spot that you are at right now with your journey. And know that you will get to a different spot, and then that's the exact spot that you will be and are supposed to be at in your journey. All right, number 15. Ooh, and this is a big one. Number 15 is a big one, you guys. Don't use time as an excuse for putting off how to freeze moments in time. Okay? So many moms and grandmas, like so many, probably even you that I talk to, tell me that time is their biggest, really it's excuse. They don't use the word excuse, but time is the biggest roadblock for learning photography. They don't have enough time. They have, maybe another job, or they've got too many things going on in the day, or they've got kids at home. They just don't have the time. And my challenge to you, if you're using that excuse as time as a reason for not learning, is to think about maybe how important photography really is to you then. Because we do have time, okay? Everyone has the same amount of time in the day. It's how we choose to use our time that matters, that counts, right? So if photography really is important to you, you're going to find that time. You're going to make that time. And maybe that means that you don't watch so much television at night, or you don't scroll through Instagram for 15 minutes of the day, and you use that time to actually take your camera and practice. You don't need hours and hours every single day to move forward in your photography skills. You really only need a couple minutes a day to play around with the camera to start seeing results. You can find that time. You can find a few minutes. Again, it doesn't have to be hours and hours. It doesn't have to even be every day of the week. If photography is important to you, if you really want to learn your camera, if you really want to take gorgeous professional shots of your kids, if you really want to be published someday, if you really want to make some side money with your photography skills, then yes, there is time. You can find that time. You can carve out that time to do the things that you want to do, like photography, right? Just think about that, because that's really a big one. Don't make time your excuse for not learning to do something that you really want to do. All right, we're to number 16. This one's an important one too. I see the next one on my list and I think, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. But these are all good ones, you guys. So number 16, don't aim for perfection. All your photos do not have to be perfect. All your photos do not have to be perfectly exposed, perfectly composed, perfect focus. They just don't, okay? Don't aim for them to be perfect. Just aim for that progress. Aim for getting a little bit better each time you go out there. My photos still aren't perfect every single time. I could really nitpick some of them and, pull them apart and make them more and more perfect, trying to aim for perfection. But why? Why do they have to be perfect? Again, just have fun with it. Aim for that progress instead of perfection. Okay, number 17. Yes, we're getting down there, you guys. Number 17. Okay, and this kind of goes, all these are kind of tying into each other. But you can make excuses, like the time excuse, your age excuse. You can make excuses all you want, or you can choose to make progress. So see how some of these are tying in, you guys. So there are so many moms, grandmas, new photographers out there who have this desire to take professional pictures. They have a desire to maybe make some side money with photography, do something bigger with their, photography goals, but they make excuses. So many excuses why it's not getting done. Stop it. Stop making excuses, okay? Whatever excuse it is that you're making. Stop making excuses and choose to make progress. It's a choice. Okay? And if you catch yourself making an excuse, pull back and say, whoa, okay, I see I'm doing that. Instead of making this excuse right now, let's practice. Let's make some progress. Okay? I want you to catch yourself. I want you to think about the next time you make an excuse for not learning or not progressing with your photography skills. All right, moving into number 18. There is only one way you can fail at photography. Okay, one. You guys aren't going to fail. You're not going to do so bad and so horrible that you fail and have to return your camera back. There's only one way that you can do that. Okay? The only way that you can fail at photography, the only way you can fail at taking great pictures, at having all of these memories of your kids, the only way that you can do that is by quitting, is by stopping. Okay? If you don't quit, then you will never fail. You will only progress. You will only get better. You will only keep moving through this journey. So keep that in the back of your mind. You're not going to fail. It's impossible to fail unless you decide to quit. Okay? So don't do it. Don't quit. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to fail. You've got this. All right, number 19 in this mini lesson roundup, practice, you guys. It's really that simple. It's just about practicing, taking what you have learned and getting out there and applying it. Okay? You can read Google articles and watch YouTube tutorials until, your eyes go blurry and your head starts to spin. But if you don't take the things that you have learned and apply them, actually hold that camera in your hand, move those dials around, look at the buttons, look at the sliders, you're not going to move forward. So you want to make sure you're always giving yourself that time to practice. Going back to this whole time issue again, right? Doesn't mean there's a set amount of time that you need to move forward. You just have to give yourself that time to practice. And if you're a scheduler, if you like to schedule or pencil things in, do that. But make sure that you are practicing. All right, moving into our last one, number 20 on the list of mini lessons to take great pictures. I want you to know, if you have made it this far, if you have listened to this entire podcast episode and you've got to number 20, then you are a future photography rock star. You totally have got this. You are going to do so many wonderful, fantastic things because I know you want to learn. I know you want to move forward with your photography skills. I know that you want to take those great professional looking pictures. You've already dedicated the past 30 minutes to listening and learning and letting all of this information soak in. So if you've made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back, a self high five. Unless you're driving, keep your hands on the wheel. Give yourself a hug. Just give yourself a smile. Give yourself a wink, a smile, all of those good things because you got this. You are somebody that wants to see results with your photography skills, and I know that you're going to do it. It's all about your mindset. It's all about practicing, not making excuses, and just keep moving forward. I really am. I'm proud of you for making it through all 20 of these mini lessons today. I would love to know if you did too. I'm trying to think how I want you to let me know that. There's lots of ways you can always contact me. But if you listen on iTunes, this is what I want you to do. I always love when people leave ratings and reviews for the show on iTunes. So if you haven't yet, I would love if you would. And if you do and you listen to this full episode and made it to number 20 in your review of the show, let me know that. Say, I listened to all 20 mini lessons. I am a photography rock star. That way I know that you did. We can connect that way. If you're not on iTunes, I know not everyone's on iTunes. I'm always on Instagram too. You can send me a DM over on Instagram. You can comment on one of my last photos or on any of the stories that I have. My handle over on Instagram is @CozyClicks. I'm over there a lot because I really like to connect with you guys. I love to see what you're creating. I love to hear about your photography journey. So if you did make it this far, tell me in a review over on iTunes or let me know over on Instagram because I would really, really love to know. All right, you guys, I will be back next Wednesday with a brand new episode of the Stay Focused podcast. Remember, you can listen on iTunes, on Spotify, on Amazon, on iHeartRadio, and now on YouTube as well. So until next week, here's to staying in focus in camera and with your goals. Bye, you guys. Oh, and since you made it to the end, I'd love to invite you to register for my free masterclass, the 4-step system to shooting beautiful portraits. You can register for that by going over to cozyclicks.com/framework. I'd love to see you there.